Tim. Welcome to Watch You Want, and thanks for logging on. Today we are looking at one of the all-time greats. This is the Jaeger-LeCoultre Grand Reverso 976 in 18-karat rose gold. You can see, and if you like, purchase this Grande Reverso on our website, watchyouwant.com. And if you enjoy these videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Watch You Want Inc. Now you can see on my wrist, 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference. The Grande Reverso is the modern Reverso. Shall we call it the plus-sized model? This watch is 46.5 millimeters from lug to lug, 29 millimeters across, but nevertheless a fairly svelte 10 millimeters thick, and when cradled on the wrist, because of the extreme rounded case flank, it will fit easily under a dress cuff. So in spite of the modern proportions, the watch nevertheless retains outstanding compatibility as a formal watch. But the Reverso's been around the block enough times for us to realize it can work with long sleeves or short. It can be formal or as informal as you like. And this example is really emblematic of where the Reverso's gone in the 21st century. It's retained its aspect ratio, that is to say the relation of the width to the length of the case has remained the same, such that it still has the same aesthetic impact as it did when it debuted in 1931. Ironically, as a sports watch. Now from a fit perspective, I want to emphasize that the Reverso does have some quirks. The hinge point, that is the drilling points for the spring pins, is located relatively high up within the lugs. You can see from the pivot point of the strap that it's not by any means flush with the bottom of the case. It is hiked up a little bit. And likewise, the underside of the case is about as flat as a watch can be. That is as flat as a board right there. We're talking the salt flats out in the US West. So unless you have a watch that's exceptionally flat across the top or so large that its roundness or its curvature of round top is gradual, you might want to consider a smaller Reverso size. The Grand Reverso, the 976, and its even bigger big brother, the 986, are built for those who like their 44 millimeter offshores, their 48 millimeter King Powers, but they want something with timeless elegance when the time comes to put away the toys. This is the real deal. And I should emphasize that the watch still possesses all of the character of the classic Reversos. Now, born in India as a sort of sports watch for British officers who played polo, the original idea when the Reverso was conceived in 1931 was that you would turn the glass crystal away from the mallets, rotating the case to allow the metal case back to face the blows during gameplay. Well, today, the case back of the Reverso is used as an exhibition window for the movement, or as a platform for a second complication like a chronograph, or a second time zone, or even a calendar. And the bottom line is the watch retains the crisp, almost rifle bolt-like precision of those original Reverso cases, albeit now with 3 ATM water resistance, which the historic models never possessed, and a level of fit, finish, and refinement unknown in the Art Deco era. I should emphasize that to create this case water resistant with crystals on both sides of a non-round watch container, with the beautiful inset perlage pattern, the engine turning, with the hinges, with the springs, with the gaskets, it's 50 parts just to create the case and the cradle. That's almost as many parts as an entire Swatch System 51 movement. Think about that for a second. That's just the case, and like everything else, JLC designs and builds it in-house with both parts of the case, cradle and case, as well as the pin buckle bearing the maker's mark of the Le Sentier firm. So what you're getting with this watch is not just classical imagery and modern proportions, but you're getting a watch built by a watchmaker that takes pride in executing everything to one standard under one roof. Inside, again, classical. We have the sort of perpendicular contrast of the horizontal gadrons slashing across the vertical sweep of the rectangular case. Art Deco style was all about rectilinear contrast, hard angles, strong linear forms, bold lines, and you can see that the contrast here with the sandblasted interiors of the gadron cuts, the polished tops, and the almost recursive rectangular form of the dial itself makes this watch possibly the icon of the Art Deco era. Designed as a sports watch that is utilitarian in intent, it nevertheless succeeds as a work of art and an enduring statement of timeless style. So let's move inboard from the dimpled guilloche of the chapter ring around the brushed metallic hour track and take a look at the almost austere form of the Arabic numerals used here. Now, Arabic numerals are very Art Deco in character, but here It's almost as if they're drawn top to bottom to emphasize the broad sweep of the 976's XGT case. This big case, the XGT, the Extra Grande Taille, debuted in 2002 with the 70th anniversary Reverso, and we had to wait a few years before it was available in a simple time-only watch like this, but when the 976 debuted in 2009, we were finally able to get a sense of what the detail and contrasts of a time-only Reverso dial would look like in XGT size, and here they are. Inside that brushed metallic hour track, we have an intricately carved inner dial, and this is where the recursive element really takes hold of the watch. You can see a gorgeous rose lathe pattern with a raised JLC marquee and applied JL logo just below the Arabic numeral 12. Nevertheless, as you move down, you see the strong geometries of the heat-blued sword hands, and then a seconds subdial featuring guilloche inside and a sort of multi-planar cut that steps it down from both the inner minute track and the outer hour track. You can see how when I turn the watch, it doesn't just have a textural contrast and a reflection contrast in as much as the light reacts differently, but it does have several planes that draw your eyes downward and inward towards the hands, towards the subdial. And when you've gotten an eye full of this side and you're ready to switch it up, the caliber 976, the namesake of the watch. Now, this is significant because JLC is a true manufacturer, again, building the movement, building the case, and executing all design in-house, also shows one of the key competencies of a manufacturer, which is building a movement appropriately sized to the case. You'd be amazed at how uncommon that is, even in high horology. You ever look at the inside of a Patek Philippe 5196? It's like a quarter in there. And the bottom line is the 976 fills this case back. It's actually a manual wind adaptation of the famed 975 Auto Tractor automatic. So essentially, it's a up-to-the-minute modern sports watch movement, shorn of its automatic winding system so you can see it in its entirety, and reconfigured to work in a manual wind reverso. You can see gorgeous textured Côte de Genève, vertical and linear in this case. It has a beautiful interior texture, which is to say in between the crests of the individual waves, there is a sort of progressive texture that changes the reflective effect from light to dark, recurring again and again and again in sweeping sort of almost flowing form across. Again, it's that contrast. You have the light and the dark. You have the strong vertical forms, again, contrasting with the horizontal guidrons of the exterior case. And when we arrive at the balance, you can see, just visually see, that this watch is built with the durability and precision of a modern sports watch. A full balance bridge anchored on both sides, operating at a modern 4 Hz. This watch offers the kind of shock resistance and precision in the face of adverse handling that you would expect of the likes of a Navy SEALs GMT or a Master Home Time or even the original Master Compressor Dual-Matic that debuted the Auto Tractor automatic. Now this is a 151-piece 19-jewel version designed for an exhibition case back, but nevertheless you retain the 48-hour power reserve of that original Auto Tractor, so it's got solidly more than the smaller caliber 822 that it replaces in the Reverso line. And again, being free-sprung with a full balance bridge and a hairspring of JLC's own design, laser welded at the stud and the collet, it has a level of shock resistance and innate precision unheard of in the 1930s. So the Reverso, while retaining the timeless classical lines, as well as the ratio of case to carriage to width to height, nevertheless keeps up with the times. And the great thing about the Reverso is it's not one watch or one design. It's not like the Royal Oak where there's the Jumbo and everything else, or the Submariner where there's the No Date and everything else. There are so many different varieties of the Reverso, different styles, complications, metals, different colors, different limited editions and general production, vintage and contemporary, that you really can find the one that sings to you, that fits your wrists and suits your tastes. And if this XGT case 18-karat rose gold Grande Reverso 976 suits your tastes, you can see it, and you can wear it home from our website, watchyouwant.com.